Well, the US has called for an emergency meeting of a UN nuclear watchdog on July the 10th to discuss Iran's uranium enrichment issue. Iran says the move shows Washington's isolation on the issue as it violated the nuclear pact first. Russia says it was the US who withdrew from the deal and now requests the IAEA session to blame Iran. International Atomic Energy Agency confirmed that Iran has breached its limit of the 300-kilogram stockpile set under the 2015 nuclear deal. And this comes after President Hassan Rouhani said Tehran will exceed its stockpile level to whatever extent it wants. Now, for more on this, we are joined by Mr. Mohammad Marandi, who is an Iran expert based in Tehran. First of all, Mr. Marandi, welcome and thank you for joining us. So as we know that Western pressure on Iran is increasing, do you think that tension between Iran and the world powers would, further increase after Tehran and Iran's National Guards announced to seize British oil vessels if its tanker is not released? What's your take on that?
Well, the guards haven't said that. A senior government official has said that. We have to wait and see. I think the Iranians are waiting to see if the British are willing to behave reasonably and to release the ship, because it is a violation of international law. The United Nations has not sanctioned Syria. And if the EU has sanctioned Syria, it has nothing to do with Iran. So therefore, they cannot confiscate oil that's going to that country, if it is indeed going to Syria. And there are reports that it isn't even crude oil. But one important point that I think your viewers should keep in mind is that the Europeans and the Americans are trying to prevent ordinary Syrians from having fuel. That is a violation of human rights. So Westerners, when they want to put pressure on countries, they refrain from allowing them to import food and medicine, like the Iran sanctions. In the case of Yemen, they helped the Saudis to create mass starvation. In Venezuela, they tried to wreck the economy and prevent imports and exports to push the people of Venezuela towards poverty and towards food insecurity in order to bring about regime change. And in countries like Libya, of course, they just simply destroy it altogether. So this is, I think, reveals a great deal about how Western countries deal with human rights and deal with countries that they have political problems with.
Right, now, Mr. Marandi, of course, we know, stated earlier as well, that the US has called this emergency meeting of a UN nuclear watchdog on July the 10th. Now, will Iran, of course, participate in the meeting? And if it does, what will be the Iranian agenda?
Well, the Iranian position is that just as the IAEA has declared repeatedly, Iran has been abiding by the nuclear deal. The Iranian nuclear program is open for everyone to see. The intrusive inspections that exist in Iran are unprecedented in the world. And the nuclear watchdog has never found evidence to show that Iran's government has pursued anything but a peaceful program. And even as we speak, Iran is abiding by its commitments within the framework of the nuclear deal. And the irony, of course, is that the Americans, which have not only violated the deal, but now they've torn the deal, and they're bullying other countries, such as your own country, into refraining from trading with Iran illegally. The Americans are calling for this meeting to take place. So it's sort of like a thief calling for a judge to preside over a court hearing case.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammad Marandi. That was Mr. Mohammad Marandi, of course, from Iran, who's an expert on the Iranian